Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me in the co-host seat, as always, is our good friends Angela Rose.
Hello.
And Darren Starling.
I'm awake.
We want to remind everybody that Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media for the latest and greatest in anime gear. Everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Check out homecirclemedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you tonight by Casey Fox. For all of your artwork, cosplay, and photography needs, check out Casey Fox on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. To find her, it's spelled out Kaycifoxx. We're also brought to you tonight by Darren's Landscaping.
If you're in the Raleigh-Durham area, the season is fast approaching. Give me a call.
We're so happy to have everybody tuning in tonight. Our guest of honor, Aaron Campbell, I've sent him the link to connect. I haven't heard back from him yet, so we're hoping that he's going to be joining us soon. Until then, we've had a busy weekend. Angela and I spent the weekend at Northeast Comic-Con out in Boxborough, Mass. And Angela, this was only your second ever Comic-Con.
Yep.
And what was your experience like getting back to a Comic-Con after many years?
It was interesting. I'll be honest, I did not know what to expect. Not only from the whole knowing how different anime cons are from Comic-Cons, from gaming conventions, but also really only second convention post-pandemic.
And it was, for me, it was fun to get back to NECC where we have a history there. And it was fun to introduce you to friends that we haven't, that are in the comic community. And we made a lot of new friends.
It was also entertaining to be able to introduce you to some of my acquaintances from the cosplay community. That was hilarious. And hi, Mario. Good to see you.
Including this one.
Yep.
She was a ball of fire.
Yes.
It was so much fun to talk to. And so I was like, we did get one interview there and took a lot of photographs. We have to go through and
I feel like
stuff.
Darren would actually appreciate her cosplay just because most of what she is known for is Pokemon.
And hello to Mario. Hello, HH. HH, we actually got to hang out with for a little bit at the convention today. So it was great to reconnect with you. So happy to reconnect, like I said. And thank you for coming out to the con. I hope you had a good time exploring the con, and I hope that you found what you were looking for after I had to leave for the long drive home.
And I will add that it was lovely to meet you in person.
And at some point, we'll get Mario into the country and we can meet him in person, too. We'll get Mario into the country. We'll all just travel down to Darren's house and we'll have a party.
Happy evening to you, too.
Arif. Thank you so much for tuning in. As I said, we're waiting on our guest of honor to show up. I have sent him the link to join us, and once he is available, I'm sure he will join us. It'll be a lot of fun to chat with Aaron Campbell tonight.
Watch him pull an Anthony Bowling.
I laugh that you say that, Darren, because I made that same comment earlier to Angela when we were at the con, and I don't know if Angela knew what I was talking about.
Is this the Christmas story?
No,
this was the Data Live story.
Okay.
When we did a Data Live special, and it was Megan Shipman, Caitlin Barr, and Anthony Bowling were guests.
Yep.
We got a hold of Megan and Caitlin. Tried to reach Anthony, no answer. Tried to reach Anthony, no answer. I think we tried calling him like 5 times during that commercial break. Even ran along and said, you know what? Let's go live. He'll join us, he'll join us when he can. So we went and did a whole 30-minute segment or 25-minute segment of me, Megan Shipman and Caitlin Barr talking about Date Alive Season 3, which Anthony directed. And they had all good things to say about how good of a director he was and da-da-da-da-da. He finally joins us 30 minutes late into the interview because he forgot his phone in the car. And as soon as he got on, as soon as we went back on the air, they did nothing but bash him and harass him for like an hour. It was wonderful. It was a lot of fun.
Well, all right.
But we're hoping that Aaron was able to join us here soon. Like I said, haven't heard anything from him. I did send him the link in the email. I keep checking periodically to see if he responds back saying he'll be here shortly or waiting to see his camera pop up. But it really felt good to get back to the conventions. That was my first convention of the year. And NECC, like I said, held a special place in my heart because it's a convention we got married at. We're good friends with not just the vendors, but the show promoter himself, Gary Summers, which you didn't see it because you had left, Ange. But when we went back in, and I was introducing HH to a lot of the people that we knew, Gary came from behind the table and gave me a huge hug, which I wasn't expecting.
Damn it, I missed it.
I was like, whoa. But it was one of those, I missed you. I'm glad you could make it. Just the genuine happiness to see, which makes you feel good.
Oh, yeah.
Because Gary he's an amazing guy. He's a very shrewd businessman, but really he's an amazing guy. Very eccentric, as you saw. But
yup.
And I did buy a new figure just so everybody knows that, yes, I'm continuing my streak of I can't go to a convention and not buy something. And no, Senko is not the figure I bought. She is, however, sitting on the box of the figure I bought, which we'll show that off at probably a future show. But I couldn't pass up. It is a Malim figure, and it's her in her evolved form, which I couldn't pass it up for $35. The price was right.
Probably accurate.
HH says Gary was super cool. He's like an old biker. Probably is too. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me either.
Wouldn't surprise me.
But
a lot of cool artists, and we are in talks with a few of the people at the convention about bringing them on the show. Unfortunately, I forgot to grab the cards out of my coat pocket to show off some events that were going to be coming up, which I'll probably show those next week on the show.
Yeah,
still unpacking.
I haven't started unpacking, but
But it was a lot of fun, and saw some really cool cosplays that I wasn't expecting to see at a Comic-Con, including a Moroha from Yashahime, which of course I had to get a photo of her. And then we saw a Marin cosplay, which kind of shocked all of us. And I had to I feel bad. I had to chase this poor girl down yelling, Marin, and she had no idea that I was talking to her at first.
Yep.
And then so I was able to get a good photograph of her as well.
I was surprised by I will say I was surprised by the amount of anime cosplays in general. A good amount of My Hero Academia, which given that it's on hiatus, I was surprised. And just, I suppose that leads into really how all of these different types of events are converging and all slowly becoming pop culture events with a focus as opposed to only that one thing.
Yeah. And I think that was one thing that Darren and I had touched on when we did our convention special. Unfortunately, Angela had a migraine and was unable to join us on that one.
I was dead. Your point?
But I'm dead.
Not at the moment.
I would argue you're undead at the moment.
But Kumagawa was, well, yeah, you're right. Because he did stab himself straight in the cranium with those paintbrushes.
There was nobody there to tell him you're not supposed to do that.
He did that with the smile on his face you see in my profile.
And going back to the shows and the convention was fun. The Marian cosplayer, and we all have watched the latest episode of My Dress Up Darling, and I'm curious, what is your thoughts on the episode?
Waifu material, waifu material, waifu material.
I'm just gonna say interesting.
I apologize for being a little distracted. I am sending an email out to Aaron again, just letting him know to join us when he's ready.
I will say the scene with the two sisters talking was actually really, really, really cute.
That was pretty cute. A lot of people started talking about the younger sister trumping Martin for top girl, and I was like, no.
Look, she was cute, but no.
It really does. If they're basing it on boobs alone, okay, I could see that, but no.
The girl's in middle school.
Yes, but people are dumb.
And anime logic.
Exactly.
When the middle schooler's got a better figure and is taller than the older sister.
Who is also older than Manin and Gojo.
As the one who is the smaller older sister, I can relate to that much all too well.
But I did find it kind of funny how the little sister, looking back through, you can see that she is starting to take a liking to Gojo as well. And I know we're going to have some spoilers on talking about this a little bit tonight, so I'm sorry if anybody is watching it and hasn't seen the latest episode, but I'm not saying anything is going to develop there, but you can see that there is something more there than just he's a cool guy, based off her reactions to seeing him in a couple of the photos from their photo shoot.
Mm-hmm. But Marin's jealous face was still probably one of the best.
I'm really glad that they didn't fall into the jealousy trope and pretty much left that at that.
But still, pouting waifus are adorable.
If that's your thing.
No, I just like smug girls. Or
smug, you just like Suzaki.
Nah, Nagatoro.
Oh my god, you too.
I just like getting him going now because Angie sees the two of us go back and forth and she just shakes her head.
Yes.
She just shakes her head and knows I'm awake.
Yep. Because you're responding to it, hence you're awake. If he said that and you didn't respond, we'd know you were asleep again.
What else is new?
It snowed yesterday.
Yes, it snowed here. It poured all morning. Then about 3 o'clock, we walked out the back door because co-manager stepped outside for a moment and was like, what the and there was flurries falling, and we're like, huh?
Yeah, see where I come from, that's normal.
Well, down here in North Carolina, that is not normal. And on top, it got into the 20s last night, and that wind was 30 and 40-mile-an-hour gusts all dang day. It was cold, and it still is.
Do you have a hurricane warning where you are?
That's not hurricane wind. That's just gale force winds.
Fair enough. I say that because a friend of mine from I want to say Alabama, closer to your general area than here, posted about hurricane warnings.
I don't believe hurricane warnings because there's nothing out there. Maybe severe thunderstorm warnings, but that's about it.
I don't know.
But then again, y'all don't generally get tornadoes up there, do you?
Very rarely.
I don't think I've ever experienced a tornado.
I haven't either, but at the same time, I don't want to. I will gladly view them off in the distance.
HH contributing to this, were you counting the tree limbs breaking off in the night?
Nope. We didn't have any tree limbs break off, at least not where I was standing. My friend basically stole my equipment from me because I needed to store my truck the other day. So to do that, I had to move equipment around.
Oh, no.
He was nice enough to take it off my hands. And when I went to steal it back, it was freezing cold outside.
And I see that our guest of honor has joined us. He said that he had an emergency earlier, but we are excited that you're able to join us. Please welcome Aaron Campbell to the show.
Hi, everyone. Hello. I am so sorry. Can you hear me?
We can hear you perfectly.
Okay, good. I am so sorry that I am late. It has been one of those days, and I have just got home. I have rushed home, and so I hope that I can answer every question that you have, and I can stay as long as you need me to. So, hello.
Hello. I hope everything is okay.
Yeah. Everything's fine now.
That's just, good.
Yes.
I totally understand about craziness. I woke up this morning in Massachusetts, and after about 1 o'clock drove home about 4.5 hours, and I'm in upstate New York after being at a Comic-Con.
Yes. I see you have a Senko figurine. That's incredible.
Yep.
It's a Senko Nendroid, which I could not resist. And, because you were our guest, I had to pull out Senko. Yes, I had to include your favorite.
Oh, she's beautiful. I need to get one. I don't even have one.
The problem is I bought her when she was still reasonably priced. Because it was a limited run, it doubled.
Yes, season 2 when? So that I can get a new figurine.
I hope so. I hope a season 2.
The comments are already starting.
And we have, hello, Aaron, my man from Ifrif.
Hey!
And our good friend Mario is excited you saw the Senko figurine.
Yes, Mario, I saw it. I love it.
I have to admit, I went back and started rewatching Senko again to refresh my memory with your voice. And I had to go and rewatch some of Banished from the Hero's Party because that's what really led me to who you were as a voice actor. And then looking back, it's like, oh, he was that character and that one and that one. And that really, really has me excited about meeting you in a couple of months at PoochieCon.
Yeah, I'm super excited to meet everyone there as well. I get that a lot. It's like, oh, you were also this character, but also this one and this one, because I'm still relatively new to voice acting. This is I'm coming up on my almost 4th year of like actually doing voices with Funimation and Crunchyroll now, and I couldn't feel more like blessed and excited to like do what I have been doing, and I've learned so much since Senko, and yeah, it's been a very interesting journey to like watch and hear my voice grow and learn how to do anime from my first session in Senko even until the end of that show as my first lead. It was a lot of fun.
And I laugh because the dynamic on the show is I watch both sub and dub. Darren and Angela are both primarily sub watchers. So
sub's great. I always watch the sub before I get in the booth to record the dub, so that I know what's going on prior to recording.
But I did force Angela, because she went to the convention with me over the weekend, to watch the first episode of both Senko and Banished. So she got to hear your work.
I will say there is a noticeable difference between the two characters.
Yes. They're different. They're different in some ways, for sure. I like both. I think both in the character aspect, definitely, and just in the state of growth that I was at and still am at in my career as a voice actor. I think, whenever I got cast as Nakano in Senko, I auditioned for Jade and I got cast as this lead, and I was like, I've been in like one episode prior to this as like a named character of like something with Cliff, who is the one who brought me on to Funimation originally. And I was like, oh, did I get the wrong Aaron? Because I was looking through their roster and there was like 4 Aarons that worked at Funimation at the time. I'm like, maybe they sent this to the wrong Aaron, because there's no way that I could do this. And Jade was so nice and so kind about helping me and teaching me, like what what OM means, which is open mouth, and what like a gasp is like. I was like, how do I do this? And she was very kind, like taught me all the ropes of how to do these things. And Nakano is fun in his own way, because in Senko, it very much teeters on the line of like, oh, it could like just go straight off into the deep end at any moment, and like we gotta go with it, or it's gonna stay this like cutesy show about a guy with an 800-year-old fox demigod and her friends, and it just barely holds on to that line for the whole show. And then Banished from the Heroes Party with Red is more like he's just a guy that knows what he wants, and he's here, he's done adventuring, he has writ, and he's got that to him. So I think Nakano definitely has a little more youthful kind of like underage naivete, and Red is more like, I know what I want. I left the Heroes Party so that I could do it here, and I love this girl. And I think those are the big differences between those two characters. So,
and actually, that leads us into question number 1, courtesy of Mario. How would you say you've improved as an actor going from Senko to Banished?
Oh, okay. I think the big one is honestly learning how to read a script. When you as an actor, I've never gotten a script early at Funimation or Crunchyroll that lays out everything for me the day before or the minute before, right? You do not know what you are doing until the second you step in the booth. So you don't get to like look, like you can watch the episodes and be like, okay, so I see this is happening in the Japanese. I see this is what's happening there. But you can't be like, yes, I know the exact words that I'm going to say. You have an idea what the scenes are about, but when the writers are writing them, they have to do it in a way to where it matches the flaps, And so I have gotten really, really good at learning how to match flaps. And before, whenever I was recording at the very beginning of Senko, I was like trying to because I'm a stage actor as well. So I'm like really trying to I have all the time in the world to really do what I want and say the things the way I want to the characters to get what I want. When in reality, it's like, no, you have the time that is allowed to you by the flaps that the characters have. So even if I feel like the character should really be taking the time in this moment to say this thing, I do not have that luxury. So I have to learn how to say what is on the script in the given amount of time. And I've gotten much, much better at that. And I think that's probably the biggest way I've improved as a voice actor is learning how much time I actually have when there are lines and saying them within the amount of time and not feeling weird about how I say them. There's certain cadence to the way that the lines are, it's yes, they're set a certain way, but finding the way to say them with the given intention within that amount of time. I hope that makes sense.
It does, and it brings up a good point where as you said, you start off with stage acting, jumping into the voice acting, and we've talked to a lot of voice actors who do both stage and voice acting, and I've always been interested in how one has helped the other and vice versa. And last Sunday we had Danny Chambers on the show.
She's great.
We had Rit before we had Red.
She's awesome.
And I was also told to give you crap from Brianna Roberts because she originally wanted today's date, but you already had it booked.
Yes, and I'm so sorry, Brianna. I'm so sorry. It would have probably worked better that you were here today instead of me, but I'm here now, so.
And hello to HH and Mario and Ross, who has just come into the chat room, and everybody out there who's tuning in. So excited to have all of you wonderful people hanging out with us tonight as we talk with Aaron Campbell, very talented voice actor with Funimation and Crunchyroll, very talented stage actor, I'm sure, because even though I am not in the area where he does the stage acting, I just know his work as a voice actor, and I can honestly say from watching Senko, loving the series so much that obviously I had to get the figure, loving Banished from the Heroes Party, and I will get figures from that when I can find them, that I have become a fan of your work. You really have done a great job when it comes to bringing some of these characters to life.
Well, thank you. I have had recently, this last year has been a really big exploration for me in terms of characters that I don't normally get cast as, and characters, and like I've able to tap my toe back into characters that I do normally get cast as. So I found out recently my main, if I have like a type, is very like guy next door who's like and I mean, I'm not surprised. It's like, I play Mitch in A Streetcar Named Desire on stage. Like that's who I get cast as every time. So it makes sense that I get cast as like Red or Nakano. And then there's characters that I don't normally get cast as, like Gauma in SSSS Dynazenon, who is an entirely different kind of character than what I normally play. And I've had the chance in the past year to really kind of like break out of what I normally get cast as. And that has been a lot of fun, especially, and I cannot wait to announce this one character that I've been working on for quite a while. And I think people are going to be like, what? Why would they cast him? And they're going to love it. At least I hope they do.
That's got to be one of the toughest things as a voice actor is all the NDAs. You're working on some amazing stuff you want to tell the world, but can't. And doing a show like this, last week we made a big announcement of an upcoming guest that I had been talking with this company for about a month leading up to it, and couldn't say anything until everything was finalized. And if those of you out there watching don't follow us on Facebook, the big announcement is we have Bang Zoom Entertainment joining us on March 29th. We have the president, Eric Sherman, and casting director Mami Okada is going to be joining us here on the show. A special Tuesday show.
That's awesome. I have not gotten a chance to work with Mami, but I've heard incredible things. And Bang Zoom, if you're coming next week and you need a new voice, let me know. I'll send you some auditions if you need. Just plug myself in there.
And so it's exciting to know that you have some big things going on, but can't talk about it. Was that a big adjustment for you? Did you have that in the theater world as well? Of I'm in this play but can't say anything because it hasn't formally been announced, or
no? It's so weird. It's such a stark difference between like stage work and voice acting, because it's like, the moment you get the cast list for something, you can be like, hey, everybody, come see the show. In 2 months, I'm going to be playing Harold and the Full Monty, or I'm going to be playing Buckingham and Richard III. And it's not, and that's something that's kind of different, is they want you in theater to be like, I'm in this, so that people buy their tickets to come see it immediately, compared to voice acting, where it's just like, we're waiting for everything to come out or until the episode comes out so that people can watch it right then and there. It's different in that way.
And Ross in the chat room is excited, saying, "Oh, Aaron did the voice of Tachi Kaketi Shoujo."
Taichi, yeah. Taichi Taichi and Kageki Soju. Marissa Lenti was the one who directed that show, and Taichi was a lot of fun for me because he was more in like he's like a softer version of myself. So like when I auditioned, they brought it down. It's like it's gonna be okay. He's just this cool uncle, and like everything he says has this nice kind of like warm feeling to it. It's like I've got you, and that's the energy I went in with, and that's who Taichi is. He was a lot of fun.
Now, is it a lot of fun to work with a bunch of different directors, get a feel? Because I'm sure you learn a lot, especially the voice actor directors who have been on both sides of the mic and can help direct you from experience of being in the booth.
Yes, absolutely. So every director has something different or like a different way they work, which as an actor is so refreshing, right? There may be some directors who talk to actors in one way that is not as clear as other directors. And that's just, it comes from different backgrounds of training. You know, I have my master's degree in acting. So like, I'm very, the easiest way for directors to talk to an actor like me is like, all right, I need this action from you. Like, this is what you want. This is what you want from the person you're talking to in the scene, especially if I'm kind of lost and I don't know. Most of the time I have a general idea, but if there's a director giving me action, that having that direction of, hey, this is what you want from this character in the scene. This is your goal or your objective. I'm like, all right, say no more. I know my given circumstances. I can go in and I use those next few lines to try and achieve that goal with that information. Reactions. I remember there was one moment. Jade laid the foundation for a lot of things I do in anime now, and like learning a bunch of reactions, you know, like I said, those open mouth like gasps, like, and then the screams. Cliff, I was working on a show called The Ones Within with Cliff, and it was my first like evil villain laugh that was like a flashback or like a flash forward where they're like, oh, what if these two characters were actually evil? And it was Marissa Lenti and I, and it goes to a picture of us where we're in like these evil business suits, and everyone's like, oh, what if they are evil? And it was that like kind of energy. And I was like, I have never done like an evil laugh. And Cliff was like, oh, it's like you just take it all up in your chest and you pump it. So it's not like you expel all the air. Because what I would do before would be like, not that terribly, but you get the general idea. So I've learned how to like focus a lot of the energy and my vocal cords, especially for like anime scenes and how big things need to be versus how small they do. You know, I always go bigger because it's easier for directors to pull you back than it is if you go in too small. Because they don't know how big you can go, especially if they've never worked with you before. So same thing for stage work, though. I always go big because if they've never worked with me, they don't know how big I can go. And it's much easier for them to be like, whoa, okay, let's bring it back a little bit.
And they always say, go big or go home.
Yeah, exactly. That is true.
Get out of my head. I was thinking that. But no, it is very much easier for someone to say, take it back a notch, as opposed to how, yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to bring more energy. And then you don't know how much more energy they want you to bring.
Right.
Now, with Nakano, you know, he is basically shows, I'm trying to figure out the best way to word this without insulting Japanese culture, but it is well known that when you work for a company in Japan, they almost slave drive you with how much they actually have to work. And it's been proven that they have a very strong work ethic. And Nakano is the epitome of modern day businessman in an office, hates his job, stuck working late, things of that nature. Was there any parts of your life that you could draw from to bring that energy out as well as you did?
Oh yeah. So I started actually working a I like part-time to full-time job when I was 13 at a theme park called Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri. And my dad was very, very much like, you know, you need to start working now so that you have money you saved during college and things like that. So like I hit the ground running, and it was like a full-time job on the weekend. You know, I worked 25 to 30 hours depending on when I could during school, and then it transitioned to full time. And sometimes working at those theme park hours, I would do 60 to 80 hours a week, depending on when the theme park was open. And I had to cover a lot of shifts because I was what we call the break person, someone that covered for other people that weren't there.
I
And
relate.
oh, go ahead, Darren.
About to say, I relate with the hours.
Yes.
And
yes.
Ross is saying that's his favorite theme park.
Yes, Silver Dollar City is great. It's a lot of fun. Fire in the Hole is a fantastic ride. I wish they would update it because it is very old.
And
but
HH adds that he went there when he was a kid.
Yeah, Silver Dollar City, like I'm not dogging on the place. It is so cool. And like I was a cave guide there for a long time too. And I would do so it's 700 stairs up and down, about a half mile, takes an hour. That's like one journey through. On any given day that I worked as a cave guide, I would do 7 to 8 cave tours. So I was very tired and exhausted. I didn't have time to do anything. So I was like, I had to think back when Jade was like, okay, this is a character that's very tired and exhausted. And it's like another day at work. I'm like, hey, I've got you. I know exactly what that's like. Let me just think back literally 3 years ago when I did this 60, 70 hours a week. And the easiest way for me to get in that thing was just, it's more like a body posture thing, I'm standing up kind of straight now, but when I'm tired, I kind of I slouch.
Yep.
And then it's like, you just kind of shuffle your way in, kind of like how skunks kind of work their way. You see their bodies going across. That's how I feel when I'm tired. Like a turkey baster, somebody just going and sucked all the energy out.
And in the comments, somebody also brought up Ryu in Arifuera.
Oh, yeah. Ryutaro Sakagami. Now, here's the question. Season 2 has just come out. I play some additional characters. I've been working with Jason Rigg on that, and it's been a lot of fun. But I don't know where Ryutaro has been. Apparently, he may be in the season at some point with some of the other classmates. I know Rico Fajardo was in season 1 with me and stuff. But we don't know when they're going to come back, and so, or if they do. It's mostly about Hajime now. So if he does, great. If not, we'll never know what happened to the class.
They're constantly referencing the class in the second season, just so you know. They're finally starting to tie in what the class has to do with why the hell they're there.
Right. But do you think they'll come back this season, or do we save for season 3?
Only time will tell.
Or the OVA that counts as 2.5.
There we go.
Now, I want to touch on Banished from the Heroes Party a little bit, because that was a show in all honesty, I was going to pass over it. Because, I looked at it, I'm like, okay, it's another fantasy, and Darren and I both fall into the category of isekai trash. We love our isekais. We watch way too many of them. I was almost getting burnt out by watching so many, so I actually did pass on Banished when it came out last season, and actually watched it a couple weeks ago. Or I think I watched it shortly before I sent you the email about having you come on the show, because it was 10 times better than I thought it would ever have been based off of what I read.
As are most isekais, you tend to skip over.
I am going to shake my head at both of you. As the resident who doesn't care for isekai as a genre, I will say, and my taste in anime is all over the place and very different from these guys. So when Doug's going on about this anime, and I'm like, okay, you really like it, which means 50-50 odds I'm going to hate it. And at con, he showed me episode 1, and I absolutely enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's
it reminded me of basically Dungeons and Dragons the anime.
Yeah, what I love about the show is that nobody knew exactly what direction it was going to take, right? Because there's a bunch of light novels, and they do a pretty good job at adapting the light novels, and I don't know quite how far into the light novels we are. I think 4 or 5 maybe. So there's definitely enough for like a season 2, or close enough for a season 2 now. But what I loved about it was that there's the slow burn on the relationship between Red and Rit. And it's not like a lot of other animes where it's just like they're all in from the beginning, or you don't really know where it's going to go. Like, it's clear in the first couple of episodes they have a connection, and it's just a matter of like, when do they reach the point to where they're comfortable enough to tell each other their feelings, and like, what does that mean to them? And I love that it's like a very it's like watching a candlewick go, you know. It's like you have like this stage of the relationship where they're like, oh, hey, it's my friend, and then it's like, oh, I do really have feelings for them, but I can't tell them. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I touched her, oh, I've got these goosebumps now. And then it's like, I love this woman. And you know, that I think is what people have really enjoyed about Banished from the Heroes Party, is that it's a different kind of romance than what is normally being shown in anime, which is like normally either full throttle or nothing happens. You know, it's like a slow burn compared to All In or Nothing.
And there are plenty of animes out there where you're watching the show, you can see the connection between the two characters, and you're like, come on, just kiss her. You know you want to, just do it, and nothing happens, or just as they're about to make a move, something happens, and my wife has coined that the flip a table moment.
Oh, yes. Yep, there are many of those.
Or you're like, just do it. Something happens, it ruins the mood,
like
you're like, no!
Like the sitcom, like any good sitcom.
Yes.
And I enjoyed the storyline, not just the romance aspect of Banished, but the storyline was actually really well thought out when you factored in the hero is his sister.
Mm-hmm.
You knew the guy who kind of kicked him out of the party was a proverbial douchebag, to put it nicely. And you could tell that there were some ulterior motives there, but you didn't know what.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to put any spoilers out there for those of you who want to see it, but the hero did get her revenge in a later episode. But even towards the end of that first season, I didn't expect some of the action to happen that happened.
Yeah, it was animated really well, and the light novels, I mean, I started reading them as Danny did. You know, she Chris Waycamp, like they've all read the light novels up to like the end of season 1, and where it gets like, I'd be very, very interested to see. I hope they do a season 2, because there's definitely the story for it. I'd be interested to see what happens with the animation in season 2, because there's a bunch of new things that happen. And I hope that we can experience them with everyone.
That I think would be fun, because I definitely felt like it could have a second season.
Mm-hmm. They certainly set it up for one, it seems.
Comments. Yes, the gradual progression of the romance was much better than the usual. She knew why she went to meet him, and he was unsure, trying to be a gentleman. Definitely more organic and less impulsive or aggressive.
Yeah. I think that's the stage of the relationship almost all humans can relate to with anyone, that, you know, it's like you don't know if what you're saying is right, and it's like you're holding back because you don't want to embarrass yourself. And you know, I personally love Banished because we don't get to see a lot of really, really strong female leads that are like, I like you, here it all is. And Rit is like that almost from the get-go. And so finding the way through that without jumping on it as a character that she's interested in is very, very fun to find your way through.
And the $1 million question from Ross: if Aaron was Red, so if you were him, would you choose Rit or the elf girl who liked you too? Oh
no, Rit or Yorandrila. Here it goes. Oh man, this is tough. I would have
Our viewers put you on the spot.
I know. Okay, I have to say Rit, not just because, well, Rit is a human, Red is a human. Urandrila, while she is an elf and also equally as attractive as Rit, she's gonna live much longer than Red would. So it would just be like watching, like the same person every day not grow old, and then while you're getting much older. And so I think that would be like the main reason I would choose Rit. But also Rit has a wonderful personality. She has cool sword dagger things. She's a great fighter, and she's beautiful, So I think all those things is why I would choose Rit. Yeah.
That and Rit would probably murder you.
Yeah, if I chose Urandrila, she would probably murder me in my sleep. So.
And why could I see Danny actually go after you?
She just shows up to my apartment one night. I hear a knock on the door. Boom, boom, boom. Open up. Oh, no.
And the next, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes. Does he roll high enough to escape? Nope. Goodbye, Red.
I would argue quite the opposite. Given what little I've seen, Red, if we're putting this in Dungeons and Dragons terms, Red's probably the rogue. The jack of all skills, master of absolutely none.
Right.
And therefore has enough points and run the fuck away.
I think so, and that was something I talked about with Chris. I'm like, okay, so he has like a set of skills. What are they? And Chris is like, we're going to find out together. And we did by the end, he's like, he's master of all and yet master of none. It's like he can do everything, but not great enough to where he is like hero level on all of them.
Or as actually with my D&D party, we like to joke, they type of the second best at everything.
Yes. Yep. That's perfect.
And I really enjoyed the storyline. And I laughed because I watched Gigik, who is a YouTuber. I don't know if you know of Gigik or not.
Mm-hmm.
But he was talking about isekais, and he talked about Banished from the Heroes Party, and he basically said when he first started watching it, he said, "Oh no, Drugstore in Another World 2.0 is what he was expecting." And that's not what he got, which I didn't even think of it that way when he was like, I just want an apothecary. I just want my own drugstore, basically.
Right. Well, and like the fact that he gets it in the first episode, spoilers. I mean, it's not a massive spoiler, but it's like, I saw with Chris, I'm like, so is that like all he wants? It's like, he's in the first episode, Red's like, I really want to open my own apothecary. And it's like, here we go. Congratulations. He's like, oh, all right. Well, I guess that was the shortest series of all time, but it's so much more than that. And I really think the glue of it is the relationships that Red has built with his party and with Rit. The relationships that they all have together, and finding the way through their new normal together in Zoltan, which has really not a lot of crazy things going on.
Because in a mountain town in the middle of nowhere, it really is. You have to rely on the people you're with because there's nothing else.
That's right. This is what you get. This is what you get out here in the woods.
And HH says a certain set of skills acquired over a lifetime, and not wrong.
Yes, great movie.
That was another interesting thing about the series, talking about the relationships that Red builds, and not just to Rit, but he builds a reputation amongst the community of Zoltan where he has high respect from everybody in the community. They don't just view him as this weird guy who goes out collecting herbs. They have a genuine respect for his abilities and things. And you see that, like episode 1, you see that there's some there from some of the villagers. But as the series progresses, you see him build a rapport with so many people in there. And then they take the story and it's like, okay, well, he was in the heroes party. What's happened to them? So you get that side of the story and you get to see how they're handling him not being there. How is his sister handling the fact that he is no longer there? Does she understand what's going on? A lot of deeper meaning into the storyline, which if you're an anime nerd like me who reads into things way too much, you can pick things out.
Yeah, I think that them exploring the child relation, the relationship they have as children between Ruti and Red, helps to really push everything forward in terms of why Ruti feels compelled to do the things that she does, and why Red felt it was important for him to, leave the Heroes Party. And I think, and again, I think the storytelling in that show is like one that has, because you never know, right? You could be watching a show and then like 3 or 4 episodes in, you're like, oh no, the story is like nothing like we thought it was going to be. And then you get a show that has an easier narrative to follow, that gives you everything you want it to be and a little bit more. And I think that's what Banished was for me personally. It's like it checked all my boxes for things I wanted for Red and Rit and Ruti and the story.
And we have some comments. Speaking of drugstore, there's another anime on that subject coming this year, but the difference is the dude wants to find cures.
Well, I'm not in that one yet. Maybe I will be. I don't know. Maybe I'll get an audition for it.
And then there's just a nice big back and forth.
And then, yes, even though it's an isekai, it's primarily a slice of life anime. Technically harem, but not emphasized as much.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes when you get cast in these things, the directors will say, listen, we don't know what way it's going to go because they only will have the first 1 or 2 episodes. And it's like Senko, you weren't quite sure until like the 3rd or 4th episode in exactly what the show was going to be. It could have been like something entirely different, but it didn't turn into that. And it turned out to be a nice, wholesome slice of life about a dude that just likes getting pampered. And I think we could all use something like that, especially in today's day and age.
Self-care is important. I can't stress that enough.
Yes, self-care is important.
And a self-indulgent moment is I need to hear you say that one special line that Nakano says when he gets to pet Senko's ears and tail, talking about the floofy floof.
Oh gosh. Okay. Let me
And the reason I say this is because we have an orange cat with a big bushy tail. If he was a female cat, we would have named it Senko.
I'll give you 2 of them. I'll give you the one that's on my demo reel that I use and the other one. Let me turn my gain down a little bit. Okay. I can't believe it. It's double the fluff. He's grabbing. And then fluffy fluff.
And basically, we use that term. My wife and I use that term constantly ever since we saw the anime. The floofy floof.
I have a corgi, Pancake, and he has become my Senko in a way. He's a fluffy corgi, so I grab him and I say fluffy fluff, and I chase him around the house. So I totally get that.
And it's not often that I get greedy of talking with voice actors and whatnot, but I was like, I have Aaron on the show. I have to have him.
Yes.
I think the last time I was self-indulgent was the last July. We left Blog Talk Radio and went to YouTube full time. Our last show on Blog Talk was Show by Rock Mashumai Resh special.
Yes.
Where we had everybody from Mashumai Resh, all 4 of the voice actors for the girls, and Megan Shipman, who directed Mashumai Resh, on the show. And I asked them if they could do their signature introduction of the fresh new faces, which it went about as well as it could go with 5 people in 5 different locations. But it was like, okay, because I love the series so much, and I hold the book up all the time, but I have an officially licensed art book for Show by Rock.
Oh wow, yeah. I was lucky enough to do some additional voices for that show. Megan is a great director, and she's awesome. It's her birthday today, I think.
It is. Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yes.
So happy birthday,
Happy
Megan
birthday,
Shipman.
Megan. I did send her a message earlier to wish her a happy birthday. And here's a fun fact you might not know, Aaron. Megan Shipman and I share the same wedding anniversary, day, month, and year.
Really? When is that?
That is June 11th? Oh, God. My wife will kill me because I forgot.
You don't know your own wedding anniversary.
No.
I'm also tired after a 5.5 hour drive.
That is no excuse.
I'm already getting the messages from the wife. Excuse me? I'm asking now. I'm going to get my butt kicked later.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. They didn't mean to bring this evil upon you.
That's all good. June 18th. June 18th. This year will be 6 years for us.
Oh, all right.
And the convention that Angela and I were at this weekend was the convention that my wife and I got married at 6 years ago when it was in a different location.
Oh, wow.
But we got married. We got married dressed as Pokemon by a comic artist, photobombed by Barry Bostwick, and Mickey Dolenz sang at our reception.
Well, that sounds incredible. You can't really beat that, honestly. I would love to see pictures sometime.
I shall send you some pictures at some point. Actually, I'm going to see you in May, so I can show you then.
Yeah. Show me then. Show me then.
And see, I can't even come close to that.
Well, you had a really cool engaged.
It does not. Half. Yes, but that it at an anime convention way back when my husband and I were both dressed as Final Fantasy characters, and during the photo shoot is when he proposed. And everybody but me, because we were all friends, everybody knew it was coming. And and they got it on video, and my response was just, what the fuck?
as I'm sure you know, when you're not expecting something, especially in the middle of a photo shoot, it would be.
And HH says, LMAO Angela, we will forget our own birthdays. That's why we get married. We have someone to remind us of what's important. With glares and timely slaps to the back of the head.
See, my birthday is the day of infamy.
In December?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes my birthday falls on Easter.
Yes, I'm a September baby. September 17th.
This year, my birthday falls the day after our 8-year anniversary show. Wow. So April 4th.
Oh.
My 2019, I believe. Wait. I spent my actual birthday in the middle of a convention running around like a lunatic because that's what we do.
Now, speaking of conventions, have you been able to go to conventions as a guest previously, or?
Actually, PucciCon, because the pandemic started a little over 2 years ago now. PucciCon is the first convention that I will have been able to go to since the pandemic started. I haven't been to a convention other than as like I've been to like Dragon Con and a convention called Vision Con in Springfield, Missouri, as just like to go and like back when I was a reporter, like I covered Vision Con, and I loved going to conventions as an actual con goer. But PucciCon will be the first that I will have been able to go to as a guest, because now that I've been able to I've been so thankful, and I've had the opportunity to, work with so many awesome people. I have characters that I can be like, hey, I voiced this. Do you want to talk to me about it maybe? Which I think is a really cool thing. And I can't wait to meet fans and talk to them about what their favorite moments were on the show, or like how to get into voice acting. There are so many different things that I'm really excited to talk about.
That is really cool. And PucciCon is the first convention that we have actually put sponsorship to.
Oh wow.
We've donated stuff to conventions in the past, but we had seen them put a post up on a different convention Facebook group, and so I just figured, what the hey, I'll reach out. We're a self-funded show, so very low budget. But I was like, I can't afford to give money, but I can donate a guest co-host spot for, if you have a raffle, we can do a guest co-host spot for a future voice actor interview. And also we want to donate a guest spot on our show for the overall winner of your masquerade, as long as they're over 18.
Oh yeah, cosplay things and competitions like that. I can't wait. Like I'll be when I can. I'm sure it'll be at nighttime, so I can't wait to go see the masquerade.
Have you cosplayed yourself, or?
Yes, I have. I am a big fan of Dr. Horrible Sing-Along blog, and in my closet are the Captain Hammer shirt, the cargo pants, the boots, and the gloves. And a lot of my friends in high school were like, you look a little bit like Nathan Fillion. And I'm like, no, do I? And I do a little bit with everything on. And so that's what I've cosplayed is that also character called Trafalgar Law from One Piece I've cosplayed as before. And those are the two that like I do kind of like consistently when I go out to conventions. I would love to get some like really, really badass Arthas armor from Warcraft 3 to be the Lich King. With an awesome Frostmourne sword, I think that would be incredible.
Now, would you cosplay as Gideon?
Yeah, I think I could. I think Gideon and Nakano are actually easy enough for me to like do without having to know a ton about like building my own costume pieces. I think that like I could get a cape and the little brooch for Gideon pretty easily, and like the rest of it's like the white shirt, the red glove. Yeah, I think I could do that pretty easily.
And for those who don't know, because we've been calling him Red this whole time, Gideon and Red are the same person, just depends on where he's at.
Yes, in the story, he is Red post leaving the heroes party. Pre-leaving, he's Gideon.
And I have to laugh because when you watch enough anime, and I've probably seen well over 500 shows, you tend to recognize many voices. It annoyed me because I watched probably 8 episodes of Banished, hearing Ruchi speak, and I'm like, I know that voice, but I can't pick who it is. So I had to look it up. And once I found out it was Tia Ballard, I kicked myself in the butt because I'm like, that's where I know it from. That's Mizure from Rosario Vampire. And Tia will be pissed because she was our first ever guest on the show when we started 8 years ago.
Oh no! Yeah, Tia is so great. And I've worked with her on a couple shows. The last one, most recent one being, it's not Wise Man's Grandchild. That's an entirely different show. It is. She professed herself Pupil of the Wise Man is the one I worked on her with recently, and she was so much fun to work with in that session. I played a British character in the first like episode or two, which I'd never got to do an RP accent for any anime, so I was so excited to do that. And then I got to do episode 7, which came out recently, and I got to be like this really hyped, like kind of like Pokemon ring announcer for this Magic tournament, which was a lot of fun. But every interaction with her I've had has been incredible. She just is like the most wholesome individual that you could ever hope to meet, you know?
You were the announcer there, the one that basically that one guy was like, every year we were the best. You were that ring announcer? That got yelled at by him?
No. I don't. There may be 2. Episode 7.
There was the school arc where she went and ended up meeting up with the mage teacher, and ended up having to go like be for the summoning group, and she had to summon. And were you the guy for that arc, or am I thinking of a different one?
No, it's one of the more recent episodes to come out. Like maybe not last week, but the week before, where they're doing like a magic competition in like a big stadium, and he's kind of like overseeing everything. And he's
okay.
introducing the contestants as they come on.
Okay, I think I know who you're talking about now, because I think I'm caught up on that, unless something dropped and I missed it because being away from home over the weekend, focused on a
Yeah.
convention.
I'm absolutely terrible at keeping up with like new role announcements and things like that. Especially when it's like characters that I have like quick sessions for. Sometimes I don't have time to like write them down, and like, the episode comes out, but it may be like 3 or 4 weeks later, and I'm like, my schedule just kind of gets all crazy in my brain, and so I need to go through my list of like recent things and be like, just do one long like 20 posts and be like, all right, I was in this, and this, and then let the people that do the fandom work go type it in, because I have no idea how to do that.
I had a thought, and then it looked like you wanted to say something, Ange, and I lost my thought.
Well, no, I was just going to point out comments, but because we are kind of slacking on that end, because they're talking to, like, our listeners are talking to us.
And I want to recommend you guys see the Adam Project, which is on Netflix.
Great movie. I saw it last night.
That is on my watch list. We will probably be watching that this weekend.
And then NBC is bringing back Quantum Leap. Are you kidding me?
Which
Ooh.
I never actually saw.
That was good back in the day, but I'm very skeptical when they bring back old shows.
Well, they've been doing that a lot lately, that whole 90s nostalgia thing.
And it's never as good as the original.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Well, you can't really, I don't feel like you could really realistically like recapture that time period in a good way. Because it's unique, it's very unique.
And I also feel like, I grew up watching the original A-Team. When they recreated the A-Team movie with I'm so used to the cast that was in the original. When you change it up with 4 new people to try to fill those roles, in my mind, it just doesn't work.
It's not a reboot, it's confirmed.
Yes.
I don't know, I got nothing.
I enjoyed the original Quantum Leap. I don't know if I would like this. I also don't know, like, if they brought MacGyver back, if I would like a new MacGyver compared to the original.
But
yeah, it's sometimes they can bring back shows. Like, I mean, I don't know if this technically counts. Like, I really enjoyed the Book of Boba Fett on Disney Plus. I thought that was a really good show. Bringing back original characters and then adding some new ones in was exciting for me. But I don't know if that technically counts.
I'm gonna, as a Star Wars nerd myself, I'm gonna say kind of, not really.
Right. I would put something like that along the lines of the Index series, where you have the certain magical index. Makoto Mizuka got so popular that they created Scientific Railgun. Focused more on her with some of the Index characters and some new characters. And then they did Accelerator's arc, where he got his own spin-off. And so I kind of fit it in with a spin-off of the original, not so much of we're trying to copy and continue.
Taking that logic, you could also put like Sword Art Online. The Gun Gale arc got its own spin-off with Shion from the original, and then a bunch of new characters.
SAO. That's a good show too.
Now, looking through, because whenever we get the voice actors on, I usually will pull up two different websites. Behind the voice actors, because the visual aspect of seeing the characters, remembering who they are. And I bring up Anime News Network, because that's the more accurate list of the roles that you have done. So it's like, okay, he's done this character. Do I remember them? That's what they look like. Okay.
And I will say I was surprised going through that, how much I've actually seen. Because comparatively, I've probably seen overall probably the least.
Well, Also, or behind the voice actors, they have not updated my profile in what feels like years for things. There's a couple things on here. Like, they don't have some of my characters that I'm really proud of, like Gauma. Like, Dynazenon is nowhere on the website, which I thought would for sure be something that was on there. But I am thankful for the
they have your toilet character.
Yeah, they have Yamabuki Lemon from Toilet Bound Hanako-kun.
I will say one of the ones on the Anime News Network list that surprised me was Back Arrow.
Oh, yes. I did a lot of additional voices for that show and like singing. Megan Shipman called me in and we did a bunch of those choir songs where they're all singing in the back. And I still don't know, the final episode hasn't aired yet, has it? It's probably coming soon.
That's done.
Oh, it's done now. Okay, I didn't know. Well,
I watched it. I watched the entire thing subbed, and that was a couple seasons ago.
Right.
I don't know if that one was how not simultaneous the dub was.
Right. Well, I remember being like, wait, are these characters coming back again? She's like, they're coming back again and they're singing some more. And it was like months after I had done the previous one. I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, 24 episodes, all Japanese and English.
I have to ask, what were your thoughts on that? Because that anime, after a certain point, was just trippy.
Right. Well, that's a show that I haven't actually... I don't watch every single show that I'm in simply because it's a lot of anime if I were to watch it all, So like Back Arrow was one that I elected not to watch, not only because like it wasn't like a supporting or a lead in it, but because it was, from what I understand, like very trippy, like you were saying. Megan was like, yeah, so you can watch it, but it's going to be really trippy, especially if you start here in the middle. She's like, I still don't entirely know what's going on. And I'm like, me neither. I tried to watch 12 episodes.
I watched the entire thing. After about a halfway, 2/3 point, I lost track of what was going on.
Yeah.
And talking to other friends of mine who enjoy anime, no one had heard of it.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, that's why we said earlier, it's like you don't know what you're going to get with an anime or if it's going to be good until like 3 or 4 episodes in, exactly what it's going to be about. Because the first episode could be like so good and set the whole series up for something. And then episode 2 hits and you're like, oh, okay, we'll see where it goes. And then it just continues to kind of spiral in directions that you never imagined.
Now, I'm curious, with your theater background, did you ever think that you would find yourself doing voice acting as well? Or was it kind of a surprise?
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to be a voice actor since I saw Lord of the Rings and the Two Towers. I saw Andy Serkis's performance as Gollum and Smeagol, and I was in 7th or 8th grade when I saw that. And I remember like that moment like changed my life. It was like a defining moment in my career, in like what I wanted to do. Because prior to that, this is gonna make me sound like such a gamer nerd, and I still am, whatever. I played a game called RuneScape a very, very long time ago, and I was big into like the desert area of this game, and I really wanted to be an archaeologist for the longest time because of like the desert, and I played Tomb Raider and like all these games. I wanted to be like Indiana Jones. And then like I walked into that theater, I knew I was going to be an archaeologist, and I left that theater and being like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I want to be a voice actor. I want to do what they're doing and making these characters come to life with just their voice. And so I started acting in high school. My sophomore and my junior and senior year in high school, I did some musicals. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get any better unless I go full for it in undergrad. So I got my undergraduate degree in acting, and I double majored also in multimedia production and journalism. So I became a reporter for a while. Hated news, and so I got my master's degree in acting 2 years ago down here in Dallas at Southern Methodist University. And I chose this school specifically for my master's degree because the program was really good, and the professors were all really great, and they really knew how to talk to the actors. And Funimation was here. And so it was kind of like the perfect marriage of what I wanted to do in life, you know, honing my skills while also learning about the world of voice acting and the things I needed to do to get started in it. And, you know, I got called in around 4 years ago for my first Wallace session with Cliff. He called me in after hearing my voice demo reel, and the rest just kind of history. And I've loved every second of it. Like, I wouldn't change anything about my journey to get here.
Now, this is something I like to ask a lot of, especially the fresh faces into the voice acting world. Have you found times where you have basically like fanboyed because, oh my God, it's so-and-so and I'm working with him or just met him?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's been weird because the first couple years, especially like pre-pandemic, when like I didn't know anybody in the studio, and like I would hear somebody talk, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's Krillin. That's Sonny Strait." Like, you know, there was a little bit of like a fangirling like that because you never know who's gonna come in the front door. And like Chris Sabat, you know, I grew up on Dragon Ball Z, and then Colleen Klinkenbeard is so awesome, and she's a great director as well. And just kind of putting the face to the voice and knowing that these people are the ones that voice the characters that I've kind of like grown up with in a sense. And like, how cool is it now that I get to like take direction from them and work alongside them or be with them in shows is something that like I never thought that I was gonna do. Like 7th or 8th grade Aaron would be like, oh, okay, man, yeah, you're never gonna do that. Okay. But like knowing what I know now and being able to work with these people is still like a dream come true, you know, because everyone that works at that studio is so talented, and they all have so much to offer, and they're all so giving and loving, and the energy that they give you is just like one that like kind of builds the community up, which is pretty indicative, I would say, of the whole voiceover community. There's a lot of people that are like, I'll help you. Like, you need me to listen to your demo reel? I'll tell you what you think, what I think. And there are people that like will be like, hey, look, retweeting so you see this, here's an opportunity. And I think that has really stuck with me, especially in the past few years. I'm so excited to start going back in studio though and seeing everyone again.
And I want the fans out there to know that when I ask the voice actors the questions about do they, you know, get overly excited about meeting the more well-established voice actors, it's not to embarrass them, but I like bringing in the human aspect of what you do, because I think in the anime world and video game world, people don't know Aaron Campbell. They know Nakano or they know Red. So all they see when they see you is a character, but they don't get to know you as a person. And that's one thing that I really enjoy doing with this show is bringing the voice actors on so people can get an idea of the person behind the voice, not just the character that you bring to life on screen.
Yeah. Well, I am a cookie cutter nerd in a lot of ways. You know, I love anime. The first show that I saw probably growing up that I was like, ooh, I like this, was Dragon Ball Z. You know, then I was introduced to Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. But the one that made me want to pursue anime specifically is One Piece. One Piece as a series means like more to me than almost anything. Because it's the story of like, you know, Luffy and like his crew like growing together and like building this camaraderie, and their adventures are so epic. And looking at that show and like listening to the dub and being like, it's so good. How can I work in a place that cares this much about their actors? And yeah, I mean, I love it. I love video games, you know, I love pasta, so that's me. I love video games, anime, and pasta. Those are like the three things.
I'm gonna ask, have you had the opportunity to do a voiceover for a video game?
Surprisingly, I've only ever done 2 video games ever, and those were both through SMU, through Southern Methodist University, through their program called the Guild Hall, which is like their video game development kind of division. I haven't auditioned for a ton of video games, but it is something that I would really, really like to do. I don't think outside of maybe a couple projects in Texas, there's a ton of video game work. I know majority of it is out in LA. So unless I were to get like auditions from LA, it's more difficult to find video game work in Texas, I think.
Now, being a fan of One Piece and knowing that it's continuing to be dubbed, have you reached out to Anthony Bowling, who I know is directing the current seasons of One Piece? Have you been like, Anthony, you need to get me on the show, dude?
Yeah, I've worked with Anthony. I've worked with Anthony a couple times, and he's been nothing but generous with his time. And you know what is great about Anthony is that I know he loves the show as much as like the fans love the show, and he's been very, very open with that to everybody that he talks with. Like, the thing that makes One Piece great is that a majority of the people that work on it like really love and care about what happens, like who the characters are, and like really are invested in particular characters. And I have talked to him. Like, Anthony, this is a great show, and you know it's my all-time favorite. He's like, well, maybe we'll try to get you in on something. So we'll see.
that totally sounds like Anthony, and we kind of were picking on it. I have to tell you this story because it's funny, because we kind of referenced you in an Anthony Bowling sense, being like, do you think that Aaron's going to Anthony Bowling it? Because we did a Data Live special.
Oh, nice.
Our guests were, and this was right after season 3 had come out. So our guests were Megan Shipman, Caitlin Barr, and Anthony. Because we wanted to get the director on. Because season 3 was my favorite season of Data Live thus far. Well, Megan and Caitlin, you know, answer, because this was back when we would make phone calls out as opposed to sending a link out.
Right.
And so they answered right away. Call Anthony, no answer. Call him back again, nothing. We extended our commercial break a little bit longer, never heard from him. Like, we got to go on the air. So we went on the air. I was like, okay, he'll join when he can. Something's going on or whatever. Because he wasn't responding to Facebook messages or texts from them, which everybody's like, I wonder what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
So we went through a whole half hour or 25-minute segment, and they were talking about how great it was working with him. He's a really good director, like talking him up because he wasn't there. Went to our next commercial break. He calls and goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot my phone in the car. I went to the store, left the phone in the car, didn't realize it was there until just a little while ago when I saw all the messages and missed calls. From that point on, they did nothing but pick on him.
Yes.
So it was brought up in like, you think Aaron is pulling an Anthony Bowling on us? He's just going to show up late and be like, I forgot all about it.
I no, that is not the case. But I am glad that I was able to still make it. Again, I am sorry that I was late though.
That's totally fine. As you said, you had something going on ahead of time, which
life happens.
We're human. I've had people cancel like 15 minutes before the show because something came up.
Mm-hmm.
Which at that point, like we're a fully improv show.
Yeah.
And so it's like if something happens, it's like, okay, if he's late, what are we going to talk about? Well, Angela and I could talk about Northeast Comic-Con that we were at this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about Dress Up Darling and some of the animes we've been watching.
Yeah.
And so we were able to fill a time, and while talking about that stuff, I wanted to check in with you via email again, and that's when you told me what was going on. It's like, we're still going for another hour and 45 minutes. Hop on when you're ready.
Yes. And thank you for that reminder. I was in the middle of something crazy, so I'm glad that I was able to still make it though, for sure.
And we're excited. I'm genuinely excited to talk with you, and even more excited to get a chance to meet you. I know coming up for PucciCon, do you have some panel sets going on? Is that stuff still in the works?
They're still in the works. We've talked a little bit about what they could be, but I don't know what my panel schedule is going to be yet. But I am really, really excited because I love interacting with people just in general. You know, it's like the human connection is something that I respond and respect deeply, and so being able to meet everyone in person is gonna just make my entire weekend. That weekend.
And a shout out to Jason Moulton, who just commented talking about awesome show. Jason is a good friend of ours. He used to run Vermont Comic Con, which he retired from doing the con scene. He's got a podcast himself called The Xcast. Be sure to go check him out. Look up The Xcast. They put on a really good show on Wednesday night. So a little promotion for a good friend of mine. I wish that there were still cons out that I had as much fun at as his. No offense to NECC, because special place in my heart there, but I really had a lot of good memories from his shows. And he was fun to have on the show a few weeks ago.
Yes, indeed.
But we won't touch on that too much.
But we're digressing.
We are. Chat always distracts me. I suffer from shiny object syndrome, so it's easy to be like squirrel.
Me too.
And you can't. It's on a pause menu. What you can kind of see the nice big screen TV in my living room because I live in Boston proper, and therefore space is a premium.
Tiny, yes, yeah.
And I refuse to have my computer set up in my bedroom.
All right, what are we playing? Elden Ring?
No, actually, my husband is sitting on the couch playing Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, another excellent choice. Excellent.
I am about 40 hours in, maybe more, and I'm nowhere near done.
That the joy is on the adventure to the end.
Much like the first game, that is one where I spent too many hours running around, basically doing everything I could except the main story-related quest.
Yes, The Witcher 3 would like a word with you.
I played that one too.
That's how I am with the latest Pokemon game that came out for the Switch, Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Oh yeah.
I am not very far in the storyline, but I'm like 8 stars.
I was going to say, how many shiny Pokemon do you have in there?
I have only 2. I have the one that everybody gets, which is a shiny Ponyta, because that's part of the quest. And then I was lucky enough to catch a shiny Pidgey, not even knowing it was shiny, because I threw a Pokeball off the side of a cliff, not knowing what I was throwing it at, caught it, and didn't know I had a shiny until probably a few days later. When I was looking through, I'm like, why does this look different from the rest of them?
That must have been a nice surprise. Oh, look, a shiny Pidgey.
But no, needless to say, I am very much a video game nerd myself.
My big game that I play way entirely too much of is I'm a guild leader in World of Warcraft: The Burning Crusade for my guild, Cooking with Butter. And
all right.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask a very important question.
Yes.
Alliance or Horde?
Horde.
For the Horde.
Yeah, Horde. I played Alliance all the way up through Mists of Pandaria before making the Horde jump, but for classic, I rolled Horde again.
My wife has a Horde tattoo that she got at a convention.
Yes, the Horde are my favorite.
I've played it a little bit.
I tried way back in the day. It didn't do it for me, but I have enough friends that play, and that is the epic debate. So I had to ask since you brought it up.
Yes. It takes up entirely too much of my time, but I love it, and I love the community of people that I play with there.
No,
Yeah.
looking
Go
back
ahead.
Going back to the anime side of things, what are some of your go-to animes when you just want to sit down, being an anime fan? What genres do you really like to watch?
Ooh, genres, not anything. Well, I guess there are some specific genres. I don't know exactly. I mean, shonens are always great. Specifically, I love Hunter x Hunter. It was like one of the first. Whenever I started getting really into anime, after One Piece, I asked some of my friends, what are some really good, like, just that I would really like. They're like, Well, do you like One Piece? So you have to like try Hunter x Hunter. I've seen Hunter x Hunter more times than any other anime at this point now. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I'm huge into that show. I would love to be in part 7, Steel Ball Run. Whenever it comes out 2 or 3 years, 4 years from now. I don't know when, but I would love to be in part 7. If anyone can hear me on that. And I really love Mob Psycho 100. I love One Punch Man. I mean, Akame ga Kill, Kill la Kill, all those kinds of short one-season shows. I really liked Dead Man Wonderland as well. It didn't ever finish, but I
laughed because I start my wife and I, she had me watching that. I got probably 6 or 7 episodes in, and then I started watching other shows and never went back to it. And HH in the chat says your guild is cooking with butter. I laughed way too hard at that. Thanks, man. That was awesome.
Yes, on Fairlena, Cooking with Butter. Hit me up if you want a guild invite. I'll throw one your way. But I feel that there's just so many genres, but those are the ones I gravitate towards. The more shonen based, or like the overpowered character destroys everything. I really enjoy.
So most
those.
Isekai.
Right. Well, actually,
most of that list is not isekai.
Well, no, he said the overpowered character that just destroys everything. That's
not exclusive to isekai.
Oh, I know. I just have to throw the jokes out there.
Fair.
I like most people, I think Attack on Titan's a really good show as well.
Yes, someone agrees with me.
I got to play a character called Carlo on that show, and it was like a 3-episode character. He was part of Peak's unit that was on top of the gun. He gets shot by Sasha, so it was a short-lived character, but I'm so thankful that I was able to be a part of that show.
R.I.P. Sasha is what I'm going to say to that.
Yes, R.I.P. Sasha. And then obviously My Hero Academia, another huge, awesome show full of really, really great characters that I've enjoyed.
Ross in the chat says, if we're talking overpowered, Wise Man Grandchild needs a season 2.
Yes. I don't remember who I play in that show. I don't think it's a name character, but I know that I was in it for at least one episode.
No. Bo Fury.
Oh, that's a fun one. Yeah, I think Megan Shipman is in that show.
Yeah,
right?
She was Maple.
Yeah. That was a fun session. I got to play like a big clown that was like, I had never played like a character in the booth before. Mostly it's just, normal people. And so like I really got to have fun and explore with that session. I had a lot of fun fighting her.
Bo Fury was so much fun, and I can't wait for season 2 of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to laugh because we'd gone a while. Megan's been a guest on the show multiple times, and the last time that we had her on before the Masha Maresh special, was, COVID had hit. They paused the recording of Bo Fury. So they dubbed up to a certain point. The Japanese finished. So I had to finish watching it in Japanese. Then when they started to drop the dubbed episodes again, half a year later, it was catch back up. I finished FUNimation dropped the last dub episode 3 days before we had Megan as a guest on the show. Oh, so I was able to refresh myself with that show and be able to fanatic about Bo Fury with her. But we're still trying to get Megan back on the show because I know, Ange, how much you love Bo Fury, and for you to have a chance to talk to Maple.
I am a gamer of all types, and one of the things I've been doing, I've done is take some of my favorite anime characters and rebuild them as D&D characters. I did this for Maple to the point where out of the entire, it was a one-shot battle royale, and only one person got the joke when on the map where the characters listed as Maple, only one person got it, and then everyone else realized afterwards, and yeah, it was fun.
And touching back on the isekai genre, you were actually in an isekai that's really popular. I've had many people tell me I need to watch this. I haven't yet, but Jobless Reincarnation.
Oh, Mushoku Tensei. Yes. Yeah, I play a couple of characters in that show. I play Almanfi the Radiant, who is one of Lord Perugius's I guess he's a familiar. He fights off against, I think it's Gilsane? He faces off against Rudius and stuff at some point, but he appears for an episode, and I want him to come back. I don't know. I think he may in the light novel, so maybe he comes back in the show as well. And then I've been recently cast. I show up in the very last episode as Luke, who I believe is Rudius's brother. I'm gonna have to double check this right now, actually, because yes, let me find it here.
And
actually, Rudy's his cousin.
We have some comments actually pertaining to that.
Yeah, Rudy's his cousin.
Touching back on comment back based to Bofuri was absolutely, it stopped on what seemed to be mid-arc, so it isn't like a second season would have to be from scratch. Talking about the pause.
HH is saying just finished manga of Jobless, very, very entertaining.
Oh, cool.
And then he updates, says the manga itself isn't finished. He's just caught up to date with what's been dropped thus far.
Yeah.
And then Ross says that he hopes you audition for season 2 of Misfit of Demon Academy.
Oh. Is that a spring or winter show? Hopefully that the auditions for those will be coming out soon.
And I think we lost Darren a while ago.
I'm inclined to agree.
Darren works 2 jobs, usually pulls 60 to 70 hours a week between working for a fast food restaurant up at 4:30 in the morning to go there, and he also owns his own landscaping business.
Oh my goodness.
So he is a busy boy.
Yes. And
he told me this before we went on the air that he was already exhausted from a long day. Plus, it was spring ahead, so we all lost an hour of sleep.
Yeah.
So, can totally understand where Darren is coming from on that.
Yep, been there.
But I know he really enjoyed Jobless Reincarnation, but he's also he also knows, like, okay, this stuff is coming up. He's usually the one that's quick with links because he's got a lot of friends that keep up with stuff. He mods a lot of Facebook fan pages, has had quite a few of his own.
And to answer our question, it's a summer.
So it's going to be a summer show.
Summer, all right, yeah. So if we do get the auditions for those, they'll be coming out here pretty soon, I would imagine.
So if we're going to put him in a second season of Misfit of Demon Academy, can we also get him to audition for the second season of Devil is a Part-Timer? I mean, come on now. I think if you're going to go for one demon, you got to go for another.
Yeah. Listen, I audition for everything that comes into 99% of things that come into my inbox. Sometimes there are characters I'm like, I don't really know if I fit this one all that well, or if there's anything on this particular audition that would suit me. So sometimes I pass, but I audition for almost every single thing that comes through my inbox.
Thus far, what is the craziest character that you've had to voice for?
I can't tell you because it hasn't come out yet. Oh,
okay. That's what we said of what you can talk about.
Okay. I mean, crazy as for me. I would say probably Gauma from SSSS Dynazenon has probably been the most vocally crazy. You know, prior to working on that show, I had never done really any animes where I was screaming a lot or had battle shouts, or I don't normally scream attacks whenever I wake up in the morning from my bed. I'm not like, time for a shower! I don't normally do that, but Gauma, he's like a Bakugo type of energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like that was a really, really fun and like really rewarding challenge for me to do. And he's like one of my favorite characters that I've played to date because of it, because it's not something I normally play, but I was given the freedom to really, really play around and explore with that character.
Now, one show I've got to bring up, and I know you only had a small role in it, but because you were talking about working with Marissa Lenti, Kuma 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 Bear is a show I fell in love with, and we've had Marissa on the show multiple times talking about her career. After I watched Kuma Bear, I fanboyed having her on the show. And I felt like the biggest idiot, but I loved that character so much. I have a Nendroid behind me, and I have a figure of Yuna in the white bear suit up on the shelf back there.
Yeah, Kuma Kuma was a great show. Marissa's great. You know, I talk with her almost every week that I'm able. We have a little Discord group where several of us watch anime and we talk about it together because we just enjoy each other's company, and she's a wonderful, wonderful person. And she was great in that show. And I remember Jade wanted me for this character called Damon. And I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to do that. And so I got 2 episodes of Damon, and it's always funny because you'll hear someone's voice and you're like, is that Marissa? And she'll be like, yep, that's Marissa. And then I'll be like, Marissa, I'm working on a show that you're on. You know, and you text each other, or you roast each other. You're like, oh, I thought I heard you in this show. Was it you? And yeah, that was a fun show, and she does great work in that one.
She does, and it was a lot of fun to hear her, talk with her about that show, because she knew right off the bat how much I love that show. Because being friends on Facebook, social media, things like that, I'm usually pretty vocal about the shows I really get infatuated with.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, so knowing that you were a part of that show, it's like, oh my god, I get to talk to somebody else from this show I really enjoy. like I said, the more roles that I've seen you in, it's like I remember that character and that one, and oh my god, I can't wait to meet him at Bucci. And
I'm really, really hoping that the character that I want to announce is done, and I can announce it before PucciCon. But I don't know that they will be, because you never know. But
what were you gonna say, Angela?
I think I'm just amused because I'm the exact opposite. Because the stuff I watch tends to either be the way overhyped to the point where most of my friends don't watch it, or the so underrated no one's heard of it or no one likes it. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm here in my corner watching my shows.
Right. And I think that you know, there are a lot of really good animes that don't get enough hype, and there are a lot of overhyped ones that get too much hype.
Like My Hero Academia, while it's good, I would argue that there's so much that's better, and that's one of the ones that's gotten way too much hype.
I see that's like one of the ones that I think that deserves the amount of hype, because I think that the story, maybe it's just because I'm a big fan of the guy who writes the manga, and like he's a One Piece fan, and so I'm just all in with anything that, if anyone has any inspiration One Piece, I'm like, you know what, you go, and I'm gonna be all in with you. Not like, for me, not naming like any anime in particular. There's a couple animes that I've seen in the past that I'm like, you know, like, why does this get a second season? But like this other show that was really good doesn't. And I don't know exactly what it comes down to, but you know, there are several theories. You know, it's like merchandise sales and like all kinds of things.
It probably comes down to how much money did it generate?
Yeah.
And the fandom, and a lot of it, I think, comes down to how. This show has 1 million fans as opposed to this show that has 1,000. We're gonna make a continuation of the 1 million fans show, as opposed to the show that only brought in a smaller group. Even if the smaller show was, you know,
1 million times better.
Yeah.
Right. I'm personally surprised Senko has not been like greenlit for a season 2. at all, because like
I'd be all in if it was.
It had a huge following, you know, and like they had like all kinds of like soups and like plushie dolls, and it was like people loved it. So I don't know if they're just waiting, or maybe season 1 is all we're ever gonna get.
Speculate 100% pure speculation. It could be as simple as the writer told their story and that's that, and doesn't have any more to tell.
Right.
I mean, it could be the studio budget. It could be any number of things.
Right. Well, I have, that's like one of the few mangas that I've like kept up with, and like there's so much more that has happened in the manga since the end of season 1, and like new foxes appear, and it's like it becomes like much more of a like demigod fox harem than before. So I would love to see it animated.
You could have all the floofy floof to yourself.
That's right. I will. I will have all the floopy floop to myself.
And fun fact, this is a future cosplay of mine. I already have the wig and ears, and I can help my wife make a tail.
Oh, that's great.
It's just getting the outfit, and I am, like for Anime Boston, I am cross-playing as Miss Kobayashi.
Oh,
I'm finding the female characters with no figure, so that a male can cosplay as a woman without having to worry about fake boobs or things of that nature.
Yes.
Although, in Kobayashi's case, she was a male for one episode, or part of one episode. Thank you, Ilulu.
No,
Sidetrack Ange there.
No, I don't even know where I was going. I'm not. Something about Last Crusade in the comments.
I just saw he was in Last Crusade. What was working on that show like?
Oh, I may have done. Do you know? Let me see if I can find out what role I was in that show. Oh, no, I just did additional voices for that show. I don't really remember then. Anytime I have a character or something, sometimes I'll remember specific Wallace sessions or other additional voice sessions, but you know, I can do anywhere from like 1 to like 5 a week, depending on the day. And so even I don't remember what I did in certain shows for everything, you know, unless it's like a named character that I remember doing. There are named characters that I don't remember doing still that were for like 3 lines. But I'm sure I had a good time. I always have a good time working with people at FUNimation and Crunchyroll.
And he said, same question about Smile Down the Runway, which you probably had another small role in that. But that anime was phenomenal. Yeah,
I do know that Cliff was the one who directed that show, and I love working with Cliff, so I had a great time working on whatever session that was. But I'm pretty sure that was a bunch of background people, a bunch of classmates, and it was a lot of fun.
Dragon Senpai official agrees with you. Senko is best girl.
Senko is best girl. Yeah, Kristen was nothing but supportive. Whenever I got cast as Nakano, you know, I was brand new to Funimation, and so she made it like she extended this like olive branch of like, hey, you're new, you know, I'm here for you if you need anything, and she helped me a lot. Like helped me find myself and who I was as like an actor there to begin with, and you know, we still keep in touch today, and she's really great. She was awesome. She was so good as Senko.
And the chat has noticed that you were humming Mario.
Which I laughed because at the convention this weekend, we were in Artist Alley, and somebody cosplaying as Mario walks into the Artist Alley, and all you hear is
yeah, that is my thinking noise. That's my thinking noise.
And the funniest part about it was one of the artists looked at Angela and was like, "Was that your phone?" She's like, "No, that was." Yep, there's a Mario over there.
Yeah, anytime I'm like, even in a session, you know, because most of the sessions I do are from this studio that I'm in right now at home. For the first time, actually, in almost 2 years, I went to the new Funimation and Crunchyroll building and recorded some stuff I recorded some stuff, some shows that I've been in for a while now there, and they this new studio is great. But here, whenever I'm looking up something, I'll pull it up on my second monitor and then until I find what I'm looking for.
Speaking of Mario, looking forward to the movie coming out at Christmas, says Ross, I believe.
Oh, is this the Chris Pratt Mario?
I'm guessing.
Yes.
I have mixed feelings. I'm sure, I don't think they're going to go with that very Italian, it's a me, I'm Mario. They're going to go with something entirely different, because I can't imagine Chris Pratt doing like anywhere near the justice to that character that the original voice actor does. But we'll see. I'm open to it. The Sonic movie ended up being great after they redid some things to it. So once the first trailer comes out, I think we're going to have some different opinions. But yeah.
And I had a thought, and then it went right out the window, which is normal for me.
Yep, because we are approaching that time.
But I do want to thank you, Aaron, so much for coming on and chatting with us. And it was great to get to know you and talk about some of your work and things like that. Oh, I know what the question was. I had come into my head. Going back to, how much of a challenge was it to go from starting out and working for Funimation, going to the old studio, all of a sudden the pandemic hit, and you've got to make a home studio? Did you already have something set up, or did you have to build from scratch?
No. So that was tough, right? When everything was hit, it was like for a few weeks to like a couple months, it was like production just kind of shut down because nobody knew how long it was going to last. It's like it could be over in a couple weeks. Right? And so I started, Funimation was they were really cool. They sent a lot of actors, local actors, remote recording kits, which included like a microphone and an iPad and stand and things like that. And so from the actor end, like we had to edit our own clips and send them in that way. But the director would be on like a Microsoft Teams on our phone. And it was incredibly difficult, but that's how we got anime out for the first few months. Quickly into that though, we started switching to Source Connect now because it was a much better software, and people started to build their own home studios with monitors and like, I recorded out of my closet for the first 8-9 months of the pandemic. And so just a bunch of sheets and pillows is what I used. And from there, when I moved to this apartment, I'm like, we don't have a closet big enough for me to do that in. And like, I had to set up and take down it every time I had a session. So I bought the studio bricks that I have now, which is just permanently, it's always here. I have my good microphone, my audio interface and everything, and it's always here for me to use. So this is what I've been using since January of last year. And it has been the best investment I could have asked for. It's hard though, like especially if you don't have a good space as a voice actor, and there, before you go into the studio, everything there is provided for you. You just walk in, you do the work, and you leave. And when you have to adjust your gain and everything for yourself and make sure the sound isn't bouncing off of all the corners and reflecting into the microphone, and the audio engineers are like, well, your noise ceiling is too low, it gets tough and it's very stressful as a voice actor. So now that things are kind of opening back up, I am excited to see how when we start getting back in the studio, how things kind of shift back to normal, because that camaraderie of all the voice actors is something I think that you can't really feel just through the internet. Like actually seeing the directors and seeing other actors and being like, we're all in this together, the audio engineers, production staff. It's like, we're all in this together. We're all here. Let's make some cool anime. I think that's the best.
And I've always said on the show, that the audio engineers, the people behind the scenes, the voice actors get the credit for the work that a whole team does. And I've always, said, I appreciate the work of everybody from the original author of the original source material right down to the editors, the script writers, the adapters, everybody. They all deserve the love that voice actors have directed at them.
Yeah, it's a team effort. It's like without one, none of the other ones thrive or survive. Like you can't have a show without having a scriptwriter. You can't have a final product without having the engineers. And I think there's been a push recently in the last few months, especially, to be like, hey, we need to get more spotlight on the other people behind the scenes who are making it work, because without them, none of it would be happening. The voice actors, we get to do the fun things for us, which is we get to bring characters that we love to life. And, engineers love doing their job, and then the people that write love doing their job. So we're all doing what we love. We just got to lift each other up more.
And this is an open invite to anybody that's involved in the production side of creating video games, anime, stuff of that nature. We would love to have you guys on the show to highlight the hard work that you put in behind the scenes, that the most credit you get is a quick blurb as the credits scroll. And nobody, in all honesty, hardly anybody pays attention to that unless you're looking to see who voiced what character. Some people don't care if Jade Saxton was an ADR script adapter. They would rather know that she voiced this character or something along those lines, because I know Jade is in multi facets of the production, not just as a voice actress. Mm-hmm. But I also want to thank you for the work that you did. As you said, it was not easy to adapt to recording from home, having to create the studios and stuff. And I want you to know, as an anime fan and someone who respects the industry, I thank you for all the work that you have put in to adjust and grow and learn and continue to produce such good work out there.
Yeah. Well, and, a lot of that can be attributed to the directors who are helping to guide us, and the engineers who are listening, and everybody. And, everyone has worked really hard in the past couple of years to help continue to bring anime to fans and people that enjoy it around the world. And so I'm really thankful to just be a part of this industry in general.
And we are almost out of time. We've only got a couple minutes left before we run out of time. We want to give you a chance to promote yourself, any social media, any way that people can find you. I know we talked about PuchiCon, that you're going to be there coming up. We call it our shameless plugging section, and the floor is yours.
Yeah. So I am going to be at PuchiCon in May. I think it's May 14th through the 15th. We're going to have a lot of fun at that con. Twitter, I'm always looking for more followers. I love to interact with you on Twitter. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, my name is @themanaaron, Aaron, Aaron. I had a lot of fun working on. I want to show you my corgi too. Pancake, come here. You get to see my puppy before we did. Pancake, come here, puppy. 1 second. Pancake.
No problem. Come here. I mean, if we're going to be showing off pets, I found Ines on the couch behind me so I can show off.
Oh, no. It's too high. Here we go. Here's Pancake.
Aww.
Puppy, look. This is my pride and joy, my little corgi, my little pandemic baby, Pancake. He doesn't have an Instagram, but I'm working on it.
I just spotted Ines, so I'm going to get him so you can see our floofy floof.
Yes, please.
Yes, I am going to harass.
Oh, sweet baby.
Floofy floof indeed.
Floofy floof.
So let's move Senko out of the way. And the funny thing is, Senko, you were talking about Kristen McGuire. This is the figure I just bought today. So another Kristen McGuire character.
Oh, wow.
But this is Ines, named after Ainzel Gon from Overlord.
Yes.
And when I say floofy floof,
oh, very floofy tail. Yes.
You don't get much floofier than this tail.
No, that's a very floofy kitty.
Especially considering the fact that he is not really a long-haired cat outside of his tail. So yes, I'm showing you off for the views. Get people to love the cats.
Yes.
And we had comments are all positive. Corgi. Nice Key and Peele reference.
with Aaron.
Aaron, yeah.
And Ross commented that this was a good stream, and I would agree.
It's been a lot of fun, and again, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Aaron. I know you had stuff going on, and we were a little late, but really, it's been such a pleasure to chat with you. And after talking with you, I'm even more excited about getting to meet you.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So when you see me, come on up, say hi, give me a handshake. I'm there. I'm vaxxed. I got my mask, and I'm ready to meet y'all.
Awesome. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Next week, let me grab my schedule here. We have a cosplayer roundtable. We're going to be joined by 4 amazing cosplayers. Lilith Fernandez, Madison Walker, Soul Dizzy, and Elizabeth Forbes are all going to be joining us talking about cosplay. I have encouraged them to be in cosplay with the video that we can do. So that's going to be a lot of fun talking with them. Also, we're rounding out the end of March. We're going to have Jeff Fulb from Vermont Gatherings. They put on a lot of conventions and a lot of events in the Vermont, Burlington area, including the convention we'll be at April 23rd, 24th, the Vermont Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo. March 29th, our last show of March, we have Bang Zoom Entertainment, which I announced earlier. We have Mami Okada and Eric Sherman. So the CEO and casting director from Bang Zoom is going to be joining us. And then, of course, April 3rd, we have our 8-year anniversary show. And we're going to be welcoming Anthony Bowling and Lindsay Shepard to the show. So a lot of good stuff coming up. Definitely keep an eye on our Facebook page. If you've enjoyed the stream tonight, you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Help us reach our goal of 500 subscribers by the end of the year. When we hit 200 subscribers, we're going to do a giveaway where one lucky subscriber gets to sit in the co-host seat for a voice actor interview. How cool would it be to be able to sit here for 2 hours and chat with somebody like Aaron or Danny Chambers or any of these amazing voice actors who we are honored enough to have join us? But we can't do it without your help. Help us hit that 200 subscriber as fast as we can, because who knows, if it happens, maybe you'll be a part of the anniversary show and you can talk to multiple. So there's the goal. Help us hit 200 before April 3rd. But until next week, when we have our cosplayer roundtable, thank you to everybody for joining us. Thank you, Aaron, for coming on tonight.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And if you ever want me back, feel free to call me or let me know. Email me. You got my stuff. I'll come back anytime.
Awesome. And thank you, Angela, for joining us.
Thank you. This was a good night.
And thank you, Darren, even though he fell asleep. Still want to thank him for being a part of the early part of the show. So until next week, stay safe, enjoy the shows, and we will see you right here on YouTube next Sunday.